Hello, am I audible? Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Vishnu. So let's start the third class of IR. All right. So in this class, we are going to discuss about the evolution. Okay, the evolution of the Indian foreign policy. Because I already told you one thing, that the foreign policy is a policy. Okay, it's basically developed in a very long time. Okay, it's not a thing that can be made at a one go. All right. So because it has continuity, it has various elements that it derives from the predecessors. All right. Even many elements I told you are there as a part of continuity in India's foreign policy that basically started during the time of Britishers. All right. So these things happens. So here in today's class, we will be majorly focusing upon basically how this foreign policy evolved from Nehru to Modi. All right. So the first Prime Minister of India and the first Foreign Minister, he was Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. All right, and now Prime Minister Modi. All right. So we will be discussing about this evolution. All right. So बाकी बच्चे आज नहीं आए हैं ऑनलाइन भी वन स्टूडेंट इज आई थिंक एब्सेंट टुडे ऐसा नहीं करो भाई और प्लीज डू अटेंड द क्लास है ना क्लास नहीं अटेंड करोगे तो आपका डीमेरिट है इसमें काफी ओके तो प्लीज अटेंड द क्लास जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकेंड फोल्डर तो देखो ऐसा है कि कैसे इवॉल्व हुई सी the initial foreign policy of India was there are various phases. All right. So the first phase in the development of India's foreign policy is often regarded as the Nehruvian phase. Okay. It is often called as Nehruvian phase. So first of all, let us talk about what were the main elements of Nehruvian phase. All right. So first was the Nehruvian phase, then came the Indira phase. All right. So in Indira phase, we often regard that foreign policy as basically Cold War phase. All right. So that was what was it? It was Cold War phase. All right. So the demands of the foreign policy of the country was very different from this time. So here, this Indian foreign policy phase is called as Cold War phase. After this phase in 1991, you know this very well that USSR disintegrated. Okay, and the successor of USSR was Russia. The whole world politics changed at that point of time. The Cold War basically ended because the one power camp didn't survive at all, and hence the demand of this was very different. So after 1991, we can say that our foreign policy was the post Cold War foreign policy. All right. So this was the third phase. Okay. Now the one more element is there. One more phase I would say is there. It is basically the multipolarity phase. So here we will basically call this phase as the contemporary phase. Okay, so first, before starting the Nehruvian phase, let us have a quick overview of all these phases. Okay, see what was the demand of India's foreign policy during the time of Nehru. At that time, we were not at all a big economic power. Our economy was not at all working well. All right, and it was the time when we just got independence. All right, so and also at that time our country was partitioned into two, India and Pakistan. So the major concern of India's Indian government was basically not to do something very, very extraordinary, but the first and the foremost consideration was to protect the security and the territorial integrity of our country. All right, it was to basically secure the independence, the hard gained independence of our country. All right, so the major consideration of the foreign policy during this time was to basically focus on the economic development of the country. Okay, because economy was very much stagnant. All right, the entire economy since last 200 years at that time was basically just for the extraction of the resources, and basically those drain of resources has happened. Okay, the economy was not at all working well, the manufacturing was very weak. All right, there was a huge unemployment, the people were not getting whatever they were working for. Okay, they were not, even the people were not having the dignity to life. Okay, so that dignity, according to many theorists, could have been achieved by economic development only. Okay, so the first priority was basically to maintain the security, territorial integrity, and to basically protect the independence of the country. The next priority was basically to develop the country in economic terms. All right, and one more priority was also there. See, in economics we always hear one quote, and that quote is basically that poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. All right, so Nehru was well aware that still the countries, many countries in South Africa, okay, so in Africa, many countries were still fighting for the against the apartheid system. The apartheid system was still prevalent, and imperialism was present there. Okay, in many countries. So one more element, okay, of Nehru's foreign policy was basically the fight against the apartheid government. It was the fight against the imperialistic government in all the other countries at various international forums. All right, so this was also one major element of India's foreign policy. Okay, and that is the main reason why many people regards Nehru to be a idealist leader. All right, so many people regard Nehru to not be realist, but my observation is there are many scholars who basically tells that Nehru was in turn, his outlook may be idealist, but whatever he did was majorly after taking into consideration the needs of the country only. Okay, so he is idealist, he might be idealist in outlook, but in reality he was a combination of both idealism as well as realism. Okay, so and then after Nehru, the 2 years phase from 62 to 64, it was basically the Lal Bahadur Shastri phase. After that, Indira Gandhi is purely regarded as a realist leader. So, what outlook of foreign policy during the time of Nehru was a bit realism, majorly idealism. Now it turned out to be completely realism. All right. So, some examples I can tell you during that time. What was happening was the Chinese premier. Okay, so there were basically some sort of communication between the Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese Premier, and there were slogans of Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. Okay, so Nehru was moreover convinced by that slogan that China is not a threat to India. Okay, he did not focus upon the military preparedness of the country, and the reason was that he was basically just in this idealism that the China is not a threat to India. But ultimately, many leaders at that time also, even in his cabinet, were there who basically believed that no, China is a very big threat to India. And see what happened in 1962. China basically started a war against India. Okay, so and even after that only, due to the war only, Nehru was not able to tolerate that basically the shock that China waged a war against India, and in 64 he died. Okay, so that was a phase. After 64, Lal Bahadur Shastri came, all right, and until 66, Lal Bahadur Shastri ruled, and after that, the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru was Indira Gandhi. She basically took the leadership of our country, all right. So this is something. Now let's write this. So just give a heading. Now, have you made this chart? Okay. So now just write. Make this. बना लो ऐसा है ना? या एक काम करो, चलो भी नहीं बनाया तो just put one first main point. Okay, first main heading. Put it evolution of India's foreign policy. This will be the main heading. Okay, and the first will be this. Put the heading A over this. Okay, A, B, C, D. All right. So write initial phase or Nehruvian phase. So write like this, a very short introduction will be there. Okay, so just write, in the initial phase under the leadership of Prime Minister Nehru, the focus was majorly on peaceful coexistence. China will also coexist with India and India will also coexist with China. Peaceful coexistence, comma, anti-colonialism, anti-colonialism, and non-alignment. Okay, so this was the major focus. Non-alignment was started here, all right, but the major task of maintaining non-alignment entered in this phase, all right. So just write the B point. Okay, this Cold War phase. In this phase, the major emphasis of Indian foreign policy the major emphasis of India's foreign policy was on managing relations with both the camps managing relations with both the camps, in bracket right, Soviet and capitalist camp, and on how to ensure न्यूट्रलिटी. ठीक है, कैसे न्यूट्रल रहे. ठीक है ना, जो है सोशलिस्ट ब्लॉक से मिलना है ना कैपिटलिस्ट से, बट हमें क्या करना है, न्यूट्रल रहना है. ठीक है, जस्ट राइट वन लाइन फॉर दिस ऑल्सो. अब देखो क्या हुआ, बिकॉज जो है कैंप खत्म हो गया और मैंने आपको बताया, आपको फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस वाला नहीं बताया शायद ना आपको. सो देखो व्हाट हैपेंड इन 1991, देयर वाज अ फॉरेक्स एक्सचेंज रिजर्व क्राइसिस. ऑलराइट, whatever thing was basically consumed in India was almost imported. We were just importing, we were not at all very good producer of the goods and services. All right, so what was happening is we were just importing and paying the other countries in dollar. All right, so the reserve of India depleted to a level that we were not even able to maintain the dollar currency in our country to pay for the imports for 1 month. महीने भर के लिए नहीं बचा था हमारे पास. For a month also we were not able to basically have that reserve of US dollar so that we can fulfill the needs of 1 month. All right, so that was a crisis. We went to IMF and World Bank. All right, International Monetary Fund and World Bank. They basically offered us the loan, they gave us the loan in US dollar, but basically imposed a condition on India. That condition is called as SAP, SAP. Okay, Structural Adjustment Program. After that, our focus of India's foreign policy now shifted, because the earlier headache was to basically maintain neutrality with both of these camps. That was now over after the disintegration of USSR, and now our major focus was on how to basically carry forward with trade negotiations, how to integrate our economy in the world economy. All right, so just write the heading of 1991 post Cold War phase. So right now the emphasis of you can also write in short IFP, in capital, Indian Foreign Policy. IFP. Now the emphasis of IFP, Indian Foreign Policy, changed to prioritize the economic liberalization. economic liberalization. Okay, and the major focus was now on trade and global integration. तो देखो ठीक है, this was the major focus. Now what happened, there came a basically economic crisis in US also. So at the time of Cold War, the world was bipolar. Okay, one was USSR, another one was US. All right. Now after 1991, the world became unipolar. All right, because only one hegemonic power was there. But a crisis, economic crisis, came in US also, after which the hegemony of US also basically decreased. Now the world, the contemporary world where we are living, the 21st century, it is basically the time of multi-alignment and multipolarity. All right, what multipolarity? Here in Europe, EU is there. Here in Asia, ASEAN is there. Here BIMSTEC is there. BRICS is there. All right, so there are multiple organizations that are often referred to as regional groupings, regional organizations. Okay, so now the Indian foreign policy's major focus has now shifted on to basically this multi alignments. Okay, we cannot be just now aligned to only ASEAN or SARC. We will have to be aligned to various regional organizations. All right, to basically fulfill our national interest. So just write, in this phase, Indian foreign policy has adopted a multi-alignment strategy. Indian foreign policy has adopted a multi-alignment strategy. ठीक है, तो अब हमारी स्ट्रेटेजी क्या है? मल्टी अलाइनमेंट स्ट्रेटेजी. ठीक है, तो इसको बोलते हैं, हियर हम जो है हर पे फोकस कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, सो विच मीन्स मेंटेनिंग रिलेशंस विद मल्टीपल कंट्रीज एंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन या मल्टीपल पावर्स, मेंटेनिंग रिलेशंस विद मल्टीपल पावर्स साइमल्टेनियसली. ठीक है, एक ही टाइम पर हमारा एम्फेसिस है कि हम मल्टीपल पावर्स के साथ में जो है वो अपने रिलेशंस मेंटेन रखें. ठीक है, तो देखो अब हम स्टार्ट करेंगे, पुट अ हेडिंग, नेहरूवियन एरा ऑफ फॉरेन पॉलिसी. ठीक है, नेहरूवियन एरा ऑफ फॉरेन पॉलिसी. देखो नेहरू ने जो पॉलिसी अपनाई, दोज पॉलिसीज आर बेसिकली डीप रूटेड इन आवर सिविलाइजेशन. ठीक है, तो हमारे सिविलाइजेशन में जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल बुद्धिज्म इज देयर. ठीक है, even the majority religion is basically the Hinduism, and basically Hinduism also teaches so many things. During the Mughal rule, there were certain elements of the foreign policy which are, so the Nehru's foreign policy is basically ingrained in our civilizational values. Now there was a anti-colonial struggle in India, anti-colonial struggle in India. Now, what this struggle was fought by Indians collectively. We all came together and fought against this particular colonialism. All right. So when everyone came together, we decided upon certain values. All right. So that was also reflected in Nehru's foreign policy. And even what has happened is this struggle that the freedom struggle, the collective freedom struggle. And you know one thing, the freedom struggle of India was not just a struggle against the Britishers. It was also a struggle to reform. It was also a struggle to basically change the ethics, the morals of the people. All right. So these all things collectively were the background on how Nehru basically carry forward his foreign policy. All right. So just put a background, right? One background. Okay. So foreign policy after independence was shaped by Jawaharlal Nehru, या PM Jawaharlal Nehru. तो ऐसे लिखो कि it was not created from scratch. It was not created from scratch. Full stop. It is deeply rooted in. It is deeply rooted in India's civilizational values. In India's civilizational values, comma, collective freedom struggle, and India's fight against colonialism. तो क्या विजन था नेहरू का? प्राइम मिनिस्टर नेहरू का विजन क्या था? तो इनका पहले तो कुछ कोर प्रिंसिपल्स थे. कोर प्रिंसिपल्स इनके यही थे कि हमें अपने सोवेरेनिटी और इंडिपेंडेंस को प्रोटेक्ट रखना है. दूसरा इनका ये था कि हमें कोलोनियलिज्म के अगेंस्ट खड़े होना है, नॉट एट जस्ट इंडियन लेवल बट एट वर्ल्ड लेवल. इंडिया हैज टू बी अ वर्ल्ड लीडर इन दिस. ऑल राइट. जहां पर भी कहीं कोलोनियलिज्म होगा, वी हैव टू बेसिकली स्टैंड अगेंस्ट दैट कोलोनियलिज्म. ऑल राइट. इनका एक बेसिकली इनग्रेन्ड वैल्यू सिस्टम था नेहरू का कि कंट्रीज, ही वाज वेरी, ऐसे समझो कि जो बहुत आइडियाज में बिलीव करते हैं, ठीक है, जो बहुत अच्छे राह पे चलने वाले लोग होते हैं, ठीक है. सो हु द पीपल हु बेसिकली who believe in the means, okay, who basically believe that good things must prevail. All right. Who have major focus on the ideas. So he always believed in peaceful coexistence. You live and let us live. All right. So but that sometime not right also, because we must take into consideration the human nature, okay, and even the nature of China was a state that was basically annexing various parts. All right. China since very long time, in yesterday's class I told you na ki Mers, Samarkand, Tibet, these were the parts that it was deliberately annexing. The main nature of Chinese state in political science is called as organic state. Organic state is a state that believes in expansion. It expands. All right. So please please, मैंने बात की है, ठीक है. देखते हैं अभी आपका जो वो एक दूसरी क्लास चल रही है ना आपकी, शायद आर्ट एंड कल्चर. ओहो, वो भी क्लैश है. मैंने तो सोचा था कि उसकी जगह हम कर लेंगे. वो मैं छोड़ रही हूँ. करीब नहीं पा रहे हो बिल्कुल. थोड़ी की थी फिर क्लैश. चलो. Yes, I will. Oh, sometime what happens na, Aarti, some Hindi words come, but don't worry, when I use any Hindi word, I then after that line I basically explain it in English also, so nothing is missed, don't worry. Okay. Yeah, sorry and very sorry. So now we are talking about Nehru's foreign policy. How much you have written, please tell her so that she can leave the pages. हाँ बताओ. 1.5 page you can leave. Okay. So now the thing is keep peaceful coexistence. He was very much believing in that idea that peaceful coexistence must be there. All right. Now also he basically he knew this thing that we must not be very much dependent on others. So his major focus was on self-reliance also. All right. His major focus was that India must be self-reliant in terms of its economy. All right. So we must be basically a good producer of the goods. All right. Whatever we are consuming, we must be dependent on ourselves. All right. So now write like this. Just put a heading: Nehru's vision of foreign policy. Nehru's vision of foreign policy. What is this scarf called? अच्छा ये वही होता है क्या? अच्छा तो जो पूरा होता है वो? अच्छा यू आर फ्रॉम कहाँ पे कश्मीर में? श्रीनगर से ही अच्छा अच्छा ये कंफ्यूजन आई विल मेक रील ऑन दिस अच्छा मैं ढूंढ रहा हूँ आई एम सर्चिंग फॉर द आइडियाज ठीक है ओके नाइस चलो बिकॉज दिस वर्ड इज ऑफन यूज्ड है ना यूजुअली यही वर्ड यूज होता है हाँ और मैं सोच रहा था जो पूरा वाला होता है ना उसको बोलते हैं अच्छा ऐसा है तो कोर ऐसे लिखो फर्स्ट राइट ए नाउ राइट कोर वैल्यूज so first we will write the core values of the foreign policy of Nehru. All right. Now write point wise. Okay. So the first point will be the major emphasis of Nehruvian foreign policy was on protecting the hard earned sovereignty and independence of our country. द सोवेनिटी हार्ड अर्नड बहुत मुश्किल से मिली थी ये आजादी we got this independence with a very long driven struggle to protect our hard earned sovereignty and independence hard earned like this hard earned sovereignty and independence ऐसे लिखो according to Nehru India must take decisions independent of any external influence. Independent of any external influence. Next point, right? Next point. During that time, India's emphasis was also on during that time India's emphasis was also on supporting the other countries in their fight against colonialism. Supporting the other countries in their fight against colonialism. Colonialism. Right, next point. Another core value was peaceful coexistence. Was peaceful coexistence. Okay. Dash डाल के ऐसे लिख लो, to avoid any war and promote diplomacy. To avoid any war and promote diplomacy. ठीक है. अब देखो एक और है कि now एक और पॉइंट लिखो. The emphasis was also on building. The emphasis was also on building a strong domestic economy first. Building a strong domestic economy first. In bracket write self-reliance. Self-reliance. Okay. तो अब देखो ये बात है. दूसरी बात, second thing, voice is coming. Now the second thing is that in our country there was a consensus that the country has to be democratic. Okay, not just on paper, not just in the constitution, but also to be in spirit. All right. Now India's foreign policy was the extension of India's democratic credential. How is it so? It is because we believe in democracy, we believe in secularism, and also we believe in equality. Secularism. We never even tried to impose any particular religion or any country, or neither even coerced any country to basically move on the direction of any religion. Equality. Now equality, we want to basically inculcate equality in our country, and that is the main reason the foreign policy was also an extension of equality. And at the world level, we wanted that the entire world must treat every country as equal. Okay, whether it be China, whether it be Nepal, whether it be Bhutan, or whether it be India, every country must be treated equally. Okay, and we did everything for stopping the apartheid system in every other country, to basically stop the colonialism, the colonial remains in any other country whatsoever, majorly in Africa. All right. So now you wrote the A point, no? Now write B. Now write B point. So write, Nehru believed that India's foreign policy must be an extension of our domestic values. Must be an extension of our domestic values, like democracy, secularism, and equality. Now the major thing, that is economic interest. He was well aware that economy must be the foremost priority. During his time only, this aims or the big institutions, IIMs, these got established because he knew that when the economic strength will be built, when we will be self-reliant in terms of education, healthcare, and any other thing, then only India's foreign policy will be strong and independent. Okay. So the same way, write C point. Nehru clearly understood that, right? Nehru clearly understood that to ensure the real security of our country, to secure the क्या लिखा? To ensure the real security of our country, the major emphasis must be on economic strength. Those who are economically well only have the real independence to take the decisions. Therefore, instead of focusing on military, he gave priority to industrialization. He gave priority to industrialization and economic development in the country. And economic development in the country. Because his belief was that इनका बिलीव था एक बार इकोनॉमी बढ़ once the economy will be strengthened up, then we can basically focus on military. So क्या लिखा? Because his belief was that once our economy is strong enough, his belief was that once our economy is strong enough, comma, later on we can move to strengthen our military. एंड ऑल्सो एक और बात है कि इनका मानना था कि अगर वीक इकोनॉमी रहेगी तो पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी भी आएगी, ठीक है? एंड ऑल्सो इफ द इकोनॉमी विल बी वीक, it might lead to political instability. See, we will be discussing about non-alignment movement later on. Okay, non-alignment movement was different and non-aligned policy was different. Let us majorly focus upon the non-aligned movement in which Nehru took participation. So Nehru's ideology was that if we will be aligned to a particular bloc, that was either the Eastern Bloc or the Western Bloc, then the chances are that our independent decision making power will definitely be influenced by those major powers. All right, so what he did, he basically did not accepted the invitation of any of the bloc to join them militarily, because what they were doing was, it was completely a war of ideology. I often tell this, there is no territorial war, there is no war of Kashmir between India and Pakistan, no war of Kashmir. Kashmir का मुद्दा है ही नहीं. कश्मीर क्यों नहीं है? कश्मीर तो अभी दिख रहा है. कश्मीर मान लो उनके पास चला भी गया होता, वो पंजाब मांग लेते. मुद्दा तो सारा आइडियोलॉजी का है, सोच का, विचारों का मुद्दा है. उनको अब तक जो है ये लगता है कि हमने जो है उनको, उनके देश को बांट दिया ना, ईस्टर्न और वेस्टर्न. उनको अब तक जो है ये लगता है कि बेसिकली वो एक इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक है, द इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ पाकिस्तान, एंड वी आर द रिपब्लिक ऑफ इंडिया. मुद्दा इस लड़ाई का है, ठीक है? तो बात यहां पर ये आती है कि ये लड़ाई भी ड्यूरिंग द कोल्ड वॉर, This fight was also a ideological fight. By asking every country, the Eastern Bloc, that is USSR, was just asking every other decolonized country to sign their agreement, that was Wassenaar Agreement, to come with them and to follow the socialist ideology. Here, on the other hand, this US was asking every single country to basically join NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, to spread capitalism, to spread democracy. All right. So now Nehru thought that if we will be aligned to any of the ideology, we will be forced, persuaded, coerced to take decisions according to them, and again our independence will be lost, right? So he chose to maintain neutrality. That's a very different discussion on whether India was really neutral or not. That's a different discussion. But here, in 1961, he took participation in the Belgrade Conference, even led it, and formally established the NAM. All right. So put a heading, okay, non-alignment movement under Nehru. And according to Nehru, it was not at all neutrality even. Even why to be neutral? When someone asks you whether you are neutral or not, yesterday only I told you, na, do not give a compromise in your conclusion in the answer. I told you only. I forgot whether I told you people or another batch. I don't know. But yes, my point is, okay, don't in the first class in this batch only I told, which you haven't watched. Okay, so at that time I told ki don't give a compromise in conclusion. Don't compromise. You're going to be IAS, IPS officer. Will you compromise if some violent mob will come to your place? Huh? Will you compromise? Why to compromise in the conclusion? Take some view, adopt some view. Okay. Conclusion is never a compromise. All right. So that's the same way. Nehru also said that we are not joining any camp. Doesn't mean we are neutral. Doesn't mean we are compromising. But it's our freedom of choice. It's our freedom that whether to choose or not to choose. Huh? Our right to choice, isn't it? So just right. During the Cold War, मैडम ये अगर गिरा नहीं, इसको देखो, सुनो मेरी बात, ठीक से रखो उसको वहां जरा, हाँ यहाँ हाथ लग गया गिर जाएगा. During the Cold War, when the world was divided into USA bloc and USSR bloc, India under Nehru refused to join either. By maintaining the independent decision making power of our country. According to Nehru, that was not according to क्या वो लिखा नहीं, independent decision making choice of our country. According to Nehru, that was not a neutrality. That was not neutrality. Rather, the means to exert our independent decision making power. Just coming in. This happens with me. I don't have any problem with eyesight, but when I don't use this specs ना तो सर दुख जाता है, नहीं क्यों, है ना? एम्पैथी है ना. अब इन्हें क्या है, इन्हें तो सिंपैथी है और वो भी झूठी, क्योंकि क्योंकि सिंपैथी हो ही नहीं सकती. ठीक है, देखो जेएस मिल इज अ स्कॉलर हु सेज कि देयर इज मूवमेंट ऑफ पार्टिकल्स इन आवर ब्रेन. व्हेन you say something, there is movement of particle. If I like it, it's the particle movement is in one way. If I don't like it, it's in different way. How you can know the movement of particle in my brain? Never possible. तो इन्हें नहीं हो सकती सिंपैथी, बट यू हैव एम्पैथी क्योंकि म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग है ना. चलो, तो अब देखो ऐसा है कि व्हाट आई मेड यू राइट द लास्ट पॉइंट, डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर, राइट. तो अब ऐसे लिखो कि नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, सो राइट द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. The objective of NAM was to protect our sovereignty, comma, avoid any Cold War conflict, promote the world peace. This is a race. Promote world peace and even support the developing countries. Now, which was that point? That was C point or D point? C. Now write D. Now, basically, the main idea of Nehru was that it is often misunderstood. Now, don't write it now. It is often misunderstood, and that is the main reason behind this is because Nehru maintained a very active role at the world level. So often we misunderstand Nehru in the way that his first priority was the basically the other countries. All right, the I would say the Africa, for example. Okay, but it wasn't true. The first and the foremost emphasis of Nehru's foreign policy was the South Asia. Okay, India lies in South Asia and major emphasis was in South Asia. Okay, after him, Look East policy, Act East policy is extension of this only. It never emerged out of nowhere. No, this never happened. It was basically the extension of Nehru's policy only. Continuity was there. So, right, the immediate priority and major focus of Nehru's foreign policy was the global south. And only after that he moved to Asia and Africa. See, what I try obviously is that my points, whatever I'm dictating, is self-explanatory. Okay, but even if you are not able to understand any of the single word or anything, just do let me know. Okay, so during his time, what happened? During his time, what happened? India emerged as the leader of global south. What is the global south? It is basically, बताओ? हाँ, correct है ना? It is basically all the decolonized countries after the Second World War collectively are referred to as the global south. Okay, So the world is divided between this only. So global south on one side and rest of the world on another side. And it's not a clear cut division, but yes, and even the priorities are different, okay, of all these countries, okay, all these groups. So during him, India emerged to be as the leader of the global south, okay. So India played very important role in the fight of all those countries for decolonization, for anti-imperialistic struggle, all right. And even we, and it's also, there is also a misconception that during that time we did not proactively basically had a role in the international conflicts. That also I will make you write, but just write this point during in the next, right, next point, है ना? Yeah, during the time of leadership of Nehru, India emerged to be as the leader of the global south. In bracket, right, after global south, in bracket you can write newly independent countries. Newly independent countries. Aarti, Vishnu, any problem?
No, sir.
All right, all right. So and even right, uh, India also, right after full stop, right, India also supported decolonization and anti-imperialist movement in all those countries. Imperialist, IMPERIALIST. नहीं पता और बताओ जरा इनको, मुझे नहीं याद सही में क्या बताया मैंने. इंडिया सपोर्टेड द decolonization and anti-imperialist struggle throughout the world, movement in those countries, कुछ भी लिख लो. देख के नहीं बोल रहा था तो इसलिए आई ऑल्सो नॉट रिमेम्बर दैट कि वही जो आप कह रहे थे कीवर्ड्स. आई हैव ओनली द कीवर्ड्स, ठीक है, बट रेस्ट आई डोंट हैव. तो अब देखो. So now one very important thing here is we also took participation in international conflicts, okay. The peak of Cold War is basically the Suez Canal crisis, all right. So just to give you a very short story about this. So there happened a Suez Canal crisis. It was basically the incident of nationalization of the Suez Canal, from where the international export import happens, all right. This you will be studying in the world history part in the topic Cold War, all right. But just to give you a very short story about this. So this was, so a few countries basically nationalized it, and there happened a very large struggle, okay, large world struggle, because the Suez Canal is a kind of a interjunction, like the channel of Hormuz channel, all right, Strait of Hormuz. So it is like that only, from where international cargoes passes, all right. So it is stated at the international level that it's not a property of any single country, all right. So this all problem emerged during the time of nationalization of Suez Canal only, and basically India was the country during that time in the Suez Canal crisis that promoted the peaceful resolution of that conflict. Even during the time of the Korean War, okay, during the time of Korean War, India chaired the UN commission, okay, that basically drew a peaceful solution to that. War happened, but after that the resolution came, and the chair of that UN commission was in the hands of India only, okay. So now write the next point, right. India during his time also acted as a mediator to international crisis also. So just now example, right? Example. During the time of Korean War in 1950, India chaired the UN commission that was formed for its resolution. Commission. Resolution. Okay. One more example you can write. During the time of Suez Canal crisis in 1956, India played a mediation role for its peaceful resolution. ठीक है? One now, let's just have a short discussion on this Kashmir issue. Okay, what happened? Now, see, Kashmir is obviously an integral part of India, and we also have all the rights to reclaim it. Okay, now this issue, when it emerged, and we also fought a war just after independence with Pakistan with regards to the issue of Kashmir. Now, due to the tribal infiltration, whatever happened, and that part basically de facto went in the hands of Pakistan. That's called as Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Now, and some part is there with China also, and some part is there, Karakoram part, that is gifted by Pakistan to China, which belongs to India. That is also a very big major point of conflict between India and both Pakistan and China. All right. Now that's why when we say that we there a time might come when we have to fight with China, at that time we will not be just fighting at one front, we will be fighting at two fronts, both. All right, because stakes are there in the Indian part. Stakes of China is also there. All right, that issue at that time could have been resolved bilaterally, right? Could have been resolved bilaterally. Okay. Now, obviously, it is just a basically assumption only. No one knows the reality because we cannot basically predict the situation that has never happened. Because now, what Nehru did, he because believed in international organizations, because of some idealistic tendencies in Nehru, he unfortunately took that issue to UN. Okay, and that Kashmir issue, which was a bilateral issue, which was a issue between India and Pakistan, it became a global issue. I don't know whether he forgot this thing or whether he was aware but still was in the world of ideas that in the UN there is a body called as UNSC. The 5 permanent seats are there. Any of the country can veto that resolution, and there are 2 countries, one is USA and another one is USSR. Both are the permanent member of UNSC and both are at Cold War. Do you think under such circumstances ever can they both come together and peacefully resolve the Kashmir issue? And that too at a time when we are not aligned to any of them. Isn't this right? See, if there is any issue between both of us, we will resolve. Now, why to involve them? Why to make this international issue? Why to take it to UN? Why to ask others to come and basically help when we can help ourselves? When we are in position to help ourselves? That was a very big mistake. That was very, very big mistake. Not a smaller one, not a short time one. Repercussions are still being felt, all right. Instability is still there, and no one knows how long this is going to last. Ask them. It's not at all easy to live there. You don't know whether at what time the internet will go. You don't know at what time the instability will be there. Hai. You don't know what will happen just the next day, or basically what happens just the time you step out of your home. And even sitting in your home, so much instability is there, so much. So this might also be true that even bilaterally also this could have not been resolved. This is also a possibility, but the thing is that we will basically see the possibility that it might have basically resolved if this was not taken to UN. All right, so just write this. Now write a case study of Kashmir issue during Nehru. Okay. Now write. Pakistan sent tribal forces into Kashmir and conflict started between India and Pakistan. Full stop. During that time under Nehru, India took a decision to take the issue of Kashmir to UN. The idea was, see, now when you will hear the idea why he took, now you will also think that he might be right. His point was Pakistan is an aggressor. Okay, Pakistan is committing aggression. All right. Now his point was the world must recognize that Pakistan is an aggressor. Point was that everyone should know that that Pakistan is committing aggression. Okay, but in the first class or second class only, I told you what is right, what is wrong at the international level will be decided by national interest. There is nothing wrong and nothing right at the world level in international politics. What is right, what is wrong will be decided by real politic. That is, the Palmerston dictum tells this thing that what is right, what is wrong for you at an international level will be decided by your national interest. Whether by doing this you will achieve your national interest or not must only be done. That's it. That's final. That's only solution to what you should do or should not. All right. Yeah, that looks good. That world will recognize that our neighbor is an aggressor. That's not a good state. That's not basically behaving in the right manner. That's not behaving in the manner that a state or a neighbor must do. But what will happen by this recognition? Okay, just right. The basic idea behind taking this issue to UN was that the basic idea behind taking this issue to UN was that the world must recognize the Pakistan's aggression. One more very interesting thing I would like to tell you, but before by hearing that from me, please do not think that I am a critique of Nehru. Please don't think that, because the time when someone will say that Nehru was not a good leader, I will be the first person to defend him to all the extent, because where today we are standing, where the today's democratic credentials of India are just because of Nehru. Other countries are not democratic, others are witnessing the military rule, others are witnessing the instability, and India is not. Only credit goes to them. Only, I'm not saying mostly, I'm saying only difference is this, na. In South Asia, just have a look at Africa. They are not that democratic. Not that they're not democratic, most of them. Only few are democratic, and we are shining bright. Why? Because of that thing only, because of Nehru only. Today, we are expanding aims throughout the world, and now the criticism is coming that those aims which are at the in the other states are not doing well, are not having that quality which Delhi aims is. And who basically established this aims? Today, examinations are happening for getting a seat in those institutions. Kya? IIMs, na? Who started that? He recognized the true potential of India. He did whatever was the rightest thing to do. But see, when Lord Ram is also not beyond criticism, who is Nehru? Huh? Karte na criticize. We do criticize Ram. We do criticize. He was the person who did everything for Raj Dharma, but never did anything for Patni Dharma. Hmm? Right, na? Then who is Nehru? We must criticize him. Hai na? This also shows democracy, no? When we criticize Nehru. So, no one is beyond criticism. No one is beyond. No one. All right. So, here the thing is, one more thing. Now, US, have you heard the news today that US supports Pakistan, US supports Pakistan, US fund? Arey, that's true. That's true. US supports Pakistan, US gives F-16 to Pakistan, US gives funds, US gives that, this, that. Okay. My point is, we must have not become non-aligned. That's my personal opinion. You might disagree with that, because if a Pakistan, America was deliberately coming to us. It was deliberately. It needed a friend in Asia. We said we will be non-aligned. See, when you don't have best friend, na, you don't have any friend. You cannot be friend with everyone. Hai na? There must be one at least best friend. America asked us to basically go in their favor, to join them. We denied because of what happened. Pakistan went to America, and this Kashmir issue was then supported in favor of Pakistan by US and in favor of India by USSR, and both were having the permanent seat in UNSC. Write this thing. The impact of making the Kashmir issue international, the impact of making the Kashmir issue international was that the Western countries supported Pakistan. The Western countries supported Pakistan and USSR supported India by exercising its veto power. ठीक है? And we say na USSR is our best friend, Russia is our best friend. This is because of this only. You are a student of IR, you must know the reason behind everything. And this was the reason. They supported us during that time when we needed it. Huh? And this became the major reason why Indo-USSR relations got strengthened. Got strengthened. All right. So all-weather friend of India, USSR. Every child know the name of Raj Kapoor, Amitabh Bachchan in those countries. All right. The reason is this only. Huh? So understanding everything? Any problem? All right. So now one more problem that I told you already. Okay, you don't want to right now invest in military, but don't at least think from the real politic purpose that China cannot be a threat to India. How can you imagine that? The history, the track record of China was aggressive. Just by saying Hindi chini bhai bhai, and Chinese premier is calling you the dog of capitalism. Huh? How can you believe this thing? That China cannot be a threat to India. Why? Any logic? Why? Why Pakistan cannot be a threat to India? Why China cannot be a threat to India? At a point of time when there is a book written on the Arthashastra, thousands of years back, in that book also it's well explained that enemy's enemy is your friend. Huh? Such logics are given there, hai na? So why it will not be a threat? Because you both are in Asia and both want to become a global power, both want to become at least Asian power, and not be a threat to India. And unfortunately, he believed that it will not be a threat, and ultimately, Indo-Sino War happened. And at that time, our military capability was very, very, very weak, very weak. Even I have heard on YouTube the stories from the mouth of those who fought in that war. Even they were saying that the weapons that were given to us that were freezing when we were firing. You know, after one or two shots, those are freezing. We have to all the time was just wasting in basically reigniting those weapons. So right, put a heading Sino-India War 1962. In that case, China claimed Arunachal Pradesh. On Plutus IAS channel, I am just uploading that video also. Today only the reel will be uploaded, and just watch it. Please watch it. Okay? The deep seek is there, no? China's AI. When we ask it, na, Arunachal Pradesh is a state of India, it will not give you a reply. It will not give. So yeah, they claim Arunachal and Aksai Chin. Okay, Aksai Chin. All right. क्या हुआ? नहीं. तो मुझसे भी तो पूछा करो. So I don't have problem in you people both asking each other, but ask me also if any confusion is there. ठीक है? सुनो. Aksai Chin. Now some scholars explores this that at that time there could have been a solution to this problem by basically maybe by seeding Aksai Chin, and just the China offered this thing also that seed Aksai Chin and we will give up the claim on Arunachal. I'm not saying that this claim was right. Obviously, this must have not been there because Aksai Chin is also an integral part of India. But some at least because they were claiming Arunachal and Aksai Chin, there must have been some speculation in the mind of the top leadership that it can emerge at any point of time a threat to India. All right. So just right. The cause of this war was the border dispute border dispute with regards to Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh. And the result was that in this war, India was defeated. The result was that in this war, India was defeated. Now you can write that thing. It was a major blow to Nehru's credibility. Everyone basically believed in Nehru, but this was a major blow to Nehru's credibility. Also, right. Next point. Change the point. In this heading would be this war was a mistake on part of our leadership when they formulated the India-China foreign policy. When they formulated the India-China foreign policy. Full stop. Nehru believed in friendship with China. And ignored the historic track record of the expansionist tendencies of China and unfortunately believed that China cannot be a threat to India. This was a strategic miscalculation. Strategic miscalculation. पढ़ा लिखो बड़ा थोड़ा. बड़ा लिखो और आप थोड़ा छोटा लिखो. हाँ, रीजन बताता हूँ. The space in the mains copy is limited, na? Or if you really want to practice, then you can purchase that UPSC booklets from market, and you can start writing in that. You will get a fair enough idea of how much space is basically allotted. All right. So now this is basically just write a appreciation of Nehru. In the Nehruvian era of India's foreign policy, he established a strong foundation for India. comma, promoted peace and cooperation throughout the world, cooperation throughout the world, and gave a newborn country, that is India, newborn country, that is India, a global identity, a global identity. Yeah, but over emphasized on idealism, है ना, ये थोड़ा नेगेटिव लिख देते हैं, but over emphasized on idealism, comma, did not focused on military capabilities and misjudged China. Show me Nehru's notes. Complete पूरा. So this in अच्छा हाँ ये भी this like this ना. This is a complete answer. Anything and everything, whatever can be asked from Nehru's era. Now, you might think that I haven't taught you that Panchashil principle and all. That though I will cover in India-China relation. But this was an overview of Nehruvian foreign policy, right? Now, put a heading. No, that's not scientific. That's sorry, not scientific means I mean that's not the right assessment, because it is not that he gave the veto power to China. It's not official statement of the government, all right. And until and unless it's not held officially, we cannot quote that, all right. That can be categorized as a myth. Okay. So there was a phase between the phase of 1964 to 66 phase. All right. During that time, that was a short phase. Okay, the 2 years phase only, but that was also a very important phase. Why? Because during this time only, our policy shifted from idealism to majorly pragmatism. All right. So we must write this also. One or two page discussion can be there. Okay, so write, give a heading, shift of, I would suggest you to change the page, shift of Indian foreign policy from from idealism to pragmatism. In bracket you can write 1964 to 1966. Now there were multiple issues, all right. The unresolved issue of Kashmir. Okay, the I would say there was a very big crisis that was basically supposed to come, and that was basically already the Kashmir issue was unresolved. There were deliberate, constant border threats that we were facing. There were tensions, emerging tensions with Pakistan, and also there was a onsetting famine in India during that. and that was the time when the slogan was given, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Jawan, because Jai soldier, that means because we were fighting wars in 62 with China, in 65 with Pakistan. Feeling cold. Turn off. So, so Jawan, because we were fighting war, and Kisan, because famine came in India. Okay, because food shortage came in India. All right, a famine came, and during that time, Jawaharlal Nehru basically passed on that uh, those things to Lal Bahadur Shastri. All of a sudden, the death of Jawaharlal Nehru happened. All right, and the successor that was chosen, because Indira Gandhi was a very young lady. Okay, she just had the experience of being, I think, Union Communication Minister during Nehru. All right, so she was not having that experience, and even within the party there were some rivals. Okay, for example, Morarji Desai. So they were the rivals to Indira Gandhi, and so after his death, Indira Gandhi became the prime minister after 2 years of the death of Nehru. All right. So, write the intro. I think the time is over. Yeah, right. No problem. The death of Jawaharlal Nehru, in 1964 marked marked a major phase of transition in India's foreign policy. The next point, right? Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was the successor of Nehru, inherited from him a very complex and difficult situation. Okay, a very difficult situation. All right. The situation at that time was difficult because we had tensions with Pakistan, comma, unresolved Kashmir issue, comma, facing constant security threats from across the border, constant security threats from across the borders, and even a greater danger of food shortage. Food shortage and famine was sweeping into the already critical situation of India. Next point, under Nehru, the emphasis of India's foreign policy, sorry, Nehru लिखवाया नहीं, under Shastri, the emphasis of India's foreign policy got shifted to national security, comma, military preparedness and practical decision making. Practical decision making. And this marked the beginning of the realist phase. The realist phase in the making of Indian foreign policy. In the making of Indian foreign policy. Okay. So there was basically the Kashmiri infiltrators, all right, the Operation Gibraltar from Pakistan that became the very big reason behind the Indo-Pak War of 1965. All right, the objective was basically to incite the rebellion in Kashmir from the side of Pakistan. All right, these wars are called as proxy wars when they don't have the guts to really fight on ground in front of each other. They use the proxy method. They ignite rebellion. They train the innocent youth of our Kashmir. They arm them militarily. They supply them weapons and drugs. They make them ready to fight in their own country. Okay, they brainwash them. This is the filthy techniques that are used by Pakistan. All right, so this only happened in 1965. Any of the terrorists that you basically can name, whether it be Kasab or whether it be any of the other person who was the terrorist in of belonging to Kashmir only, that youth, that young person, I forgot the name, Ajmal Kasab, and every terrorist, those are at some point of time were the innocent youth of Kashmir, and they incited rebellion from inside, basically inside the country. Okay, so the major danger a country faces is not from outside, it is when they play this proxy techniques. Okay, what will happen to a ship if the captain of the ship basically rebel? What will happen to that ship sailing inside the ocean? The major problem will come at that time only, right? So this is the proxy technique that they used in time of 1965, and against which we rebelled. Okay, and that led to the Indo-Pakistan War of 1965. All right. तो अभी बस करते हैं, ठीक है, आप लोगों को भी जाना होगा। क्या भूख लगी है? हाँ, इतनी जल्दी कर रहे हो? क्या करना है घर जाके? तो यहाँ क्या कर रहे हो? हाँ, यहाँ भी पढ़ाई कर रहे हो? Then what's the problem? इसके बाद कोई क्लास थोड़ी है। और बढ़ाऊंगा टाइम, देखना, टाइम इज लेस। I will ask them to increase the time of this class. Okay? Any problem? नहीं? Huh? Really? Really no problem. Why? What problem? कोई बात नहीं, मेरी सुबह 10 बजे से होती है। कहाँ जाते हो? मेरे को भी जाना होता है बहुत दूर। I also have to travel. Nearby INA, Delhi Heart. I have to go there daily. Have to come also. My classes are from 10 a.m. Any problem? But you get rest, na? I don't get any rest here. I'm constantly just here from 10:15 to 11:15, from 1 till 2:30, 2:40 till 3:30, okay, नहीं 3:40, after that continuously from 5 till this time 5:10. अब बोलो, I also have to do so many things. चलो तो पढ़ो, है ना? Okay, we'll continue in the next class. Okay, Vishnu.